Hello, friends. Welcome to a special edition of APEC Dialogue. APEC Dialogue has been aimed at creating a dialogue between the very important people who are part of governance, science and innovation, healthcare. And the dialogue is basically aimed at reaching out to our viewers with some other kind of stories apart from whatever routine work they do. And for that, we have a special guest today. He's special because not only because what he's doing, but his life story is very special to us, and I'm sure it will be inspiring for many of you. We have with us Dr. Akhilesh Gupta, advisor, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, a scientist. You can tell him a scientist. He's known for his weather forecasting. He has got many avatars. But apart from that, his own battle, how he won over cancer, is also inspiring to me personally and to many people. With this, I'd like to introduce Dr. Akhilesh Gupta. We welcome you, Dr. Gupta.
Thank you. Thank you, and very good afternoon.
Yeah, and I know it's a big pilot. If I can talk about your various designation and everything in Department of Science and Technology, your journey began as a weather forecaster, if I'm not wrong. So, Dr. Akhilesh Gupta, if I may ask you, if you can describe how your journey started in the field of science and innovation.
Yeah, thank you very much, Savik. In fact, there are very few people who get started their career immediately after they complete the post graduation. I was one of those lucky person who completed a master degree in physics from Lucknow University in back in 1984. Went into went to IIT Kanpur for doing NTech. I couldn't complete that, and because I got selected for this Indian Meteorological Service in 1985, I joined in September 1985 in Pune, the training institute for the weather forecaster and meteorologist. After completing 1 year training in Pune, the first posting that was given to me was in Chennai, the Regional Meteorological Center, Chennai, of the India Meteorological Department. Oh, that was the nightmare, I would say, to start with, because, since I hail from traditionally Hindi region of North India, that is Lucknow, posted to Chennai was really a kind of challenge that I had at that time. But that also motivated me to be in different lands and understand their culture and their tradition. Started my career as a meteorologist in Chennai, and first thing as a professional I got the responsibility of was the tropical cyclone forecasting responsibility in the Regional Meteorological Center. This subject was totally new to me, although I had studied this in the training, but with a new area, and I had to face new challenges in Chennai, not just because of the subject, but also because of the culture and the language that were different in that region. So you will be surprised that, in fact, I have learned the language, Tamil language, formally. The script of Tamil I have learned. I cannot speak, but I can understand Tamil. Also, I can write Tamil. There are very few Tamilians who can write Tamil, but I can read and write Tamil. So this I have learned formally, so that I go well in the culture of the Tamil Nadu when I am working there. well, there have been great journeys, although, as I said, it started with some challenges, but I had really enjoyed my stay in Chennai, completed 5.5 years there. In 92, I came back to Delhi, and there, I continued to work in the tropical cyclone. And then I joined a new institute called National Center for Medium Range Weather Forecasting, where I continue to do weather forecasting. But here the focus of my assignment was something very new area. And that new area was the location-specific weather forecasting. Over the time, I in fact specialized in this area, and the big challenge that was given to me as the weather forecaster was the location specific forecast as part of the agro-advisory service network that NCMRWS was operating at that time. And the big challenge was having a good accuracy of forecast so that it is useful to the farmers. So basically that, was a big, at that time, the weather models were not very advanced as compared to the models that we had today. So with those kind of limitations, we had to give forecasts, and the forecast should be useful to the farmers. Was a big challenge at that time. So that is how I started my career as weather forecaster and the meteorologist in the India Meteorological Department. Graduated and took over my another assignment in the National Center for Medium and Weather Forecasting.
Yeah. So I must also inform our viewers that Dr. Akhilesh Gupta is advisor and also the head of strategic programs, large initiatives and coordinated action enabler. It's called SPLICE, and also climate change program in Department of Science and Technology, and is also heading and part of the Science and Technology Innovation Policy, which is commonly known as STIP 2020 Secretariat. So we'll come to this part, but I know that Dr. Akhilesh Gupta is renowned for one more thing. I think he's one of the very few people in the world who actually can forecast weather in Mount Everest area. Am I right or wrong, Dr. Akhilesh Gupta?
Yeah, thank you. I think you are raising this point. I'll tell you, this is an interesting story behind it. You know that India has been leading its weather forecasting in other areas. But somehow the location-specific forecast, especially for the mountainous region, has been a gray area for us. And when we, in fact, when I joined the the National Center for Medium Range Weather Forecasting, a unique request came from the Indian Army in 2000. I think it was 1998. There were two kind of requests that came. One was in the context of the Kargil War. In 1999, when Kargil War took place in the month of, say, starting from the May to October, that was a period when the Kargil War took place. I was assigned a job to work with Indian Army for providing weather forecasting for the Kargil region. Very specialized work. For a small region, we had to provide the weather forecast. That was a challenge I took. I, in fact, worked with the Indian Army officers. And I would not say that India had won the war with them. But I think few people know that there has been role of weather forecast also into this contribution. Also, so that was the first experiment I had with in the hilly region forecast. Then myself and my colleagues work on the Mount Everest and other, hilly, other peaks like Mount Annapurna, Mount Lhotse, Mount Kanchenjunga, and many such peaks that we have. The two challenges that come for that region, one is that there are no data. So you don't have any data for that region. So weather forecasting needs data. How do you validate your forecast? So fine-tuning of the forecast will need data. We didn't have any data for that. The other challenge was that since there were no data, the models that are used for that actually are very coarse model, 150 kilometer resolution model. And it is very difficult to pinpoint the different location in the Mount Everest region, say the from the base camp to Camp 1 to Camp 2 to Camp 3 and then summit. All that can come within a distance of 15 kilometers or so. How do we forecast? That was a big challenge, and our team took a challenge and developed a technique, for forecasting that in that region. And that development of the technique was so successful that continuously 21 expeditions were made successful without a single loss of life.
That's quite remarkable.
Not just Indian Army, we gave forecast to ITBP, to BSF, to Indian Navy, and several such teams went and then. In 2003, it is there in the record. In 2003, we gave a most difficult forecast, and the weather in that year was absolutely hostile, and no country in the world, 18 countries were operating in the Everest region at that time. No country could do summit during that period. But Indian Army was the only team that could successfully scale the Everest. And the entire credit for that was the forecast given by us. So it is an unimaginable situation that we handled at that time in the weather forecasting. I think another very big event that I coordinated, and this also is there in the on papers available, was that India has been doing ballooning expedition here and there. But India has never been an international partner in the ballooning. So, ballooning is where the people sit on the balloon, and this is a hot air balloon, and then it travels from one place to another place. There have been issues with the ballooning because balloon cannot be controlled by any means except two ways. One, that if you change the altitude, it is driven by the air, by the wind. So either you change the altitude, so it will go according to, you can change the direction and speed depending on its wind that flows at different level. Or you can change the gas volume so that you can reduce its volume so that it has different drift. We did a work that is it is an Asian record of ballooning, where Major Kumar Bhaskar of Indian Army worked with us, and we started a ballooning expedition from a place called Devas in the Madhya Pradesh. He went around in entire central India, and we coordinated the level of balloon in such a way that he drifted back to Indore and completed 17 and a half hours on in air. That is a Asian record. This is another thing which we did, which is, entire. So these are the things I think I would say that as meteorologists, I would say that this is the most exciting area of profession. I don't think any other profession can give you this kind of excitement as a weather forecaster get, because there are big challenges. The weather forecast is something that you are giving forecast and witness. These are the things that, I think very, live in my mind.
It's quite remarkable and interesting life you have, because the things you have said, I think it's only few of the interesting incidents you have been part of as a weather forecaster, and the kind of innovation you have done at a great service to the country. I'll come to the very important part of your personal life. But before that, I want to come to the part of Department in Science and Technology, because you're heading very important portfolios there, be it on climate change, be it on now the Science and Technology Innovation Policy, the policy formulation part is happening. What is your opinion on the science and innovation spectrum and the research science and innovation spectrum in India? And what is the scope, according to you, especially when we are living in the time of this pandemic and very unprecedented times in the history of modern human establishment?
See, look, I think India has been making major strides in the science and technology in last, several years. What has happened? Something unique and unprecedented happened in the last 6 years. And this is what India and the entire world is witnessing today. So in the last 6 years, India, in fact, in terms of many parameters, India went ahead of many countries. For example, in terms of number of research papers, publication, India, in fact, a few years back, India was 7th or 8th. We now have come to number 3 position by surpassing countries like UK, Germany, Japan, Russia, and all. This did not happen just a part of a ritual and an incident. It has behind it a strong backing of the S&T ecosystem of the country. We also have improved in terms of startup. We are now having 3rd position in terms of total number of startups in the world after US and China. We are also in terms of 3rd position in terms of unicorn in the country after US and China. In many ways, number of PhDs in the last 5 years have gone double. Now we are 26,000 PhD students in science coming out every year. So ecosystem, this government particularly has worked enormously in the area of innovation. Never done earlier. And see that Atal Innovation mission that we have. Also, there are initiative in the DST. In just 5-6 years, we started from a few thousand to now 32,000 startup. So I think, and with the concerted effort of the government, we are targeting to achieve, in fact, much higher number than what we have. So our aim is now we should be in top 3 in many of the other variables, so that we are able to lead the world in terms of science and technology innovation. And that is how, and this COVID-19 has in fact brought India together. And this is the clarion call that Prime Minister has given, is actually helping that cohesion and integration of not just the scientists, but also the innovators, the industry and academia linkages, that is building up over the time. I think this is a kind of, as I said, unprecedented collaborating mechanism is actually built around this whole ecosystem that we are witnessing today.
Will STIP 2020 is a move in the right direction to achieve this vision?
Exactly. So, we are in fact, if you recall that we had the National Education Policy coming up last month. And what we are in fact investigating, and again, this is a government thinking that that we should be able to bring science and technology policy right in this year itself. And the reason I'll tell you why. Some people might say that, this is a COVID time, we could have waited. I think this is the most opportune time also. So COVID has brought challenges, but also opportunity for the country. And the kind of fast-changing ecosystem of the science and technology innovation actually helping that. So I think this is the right time. So we are targeting to bring the science and technology innovation policy by end of this year. The second part of this is that as, in fact, if you had listened to Prime Minister saying, that the policies should bring clear implementation strategy. If policies are only statements, they cannot, find the, what is called ground level implementation. So the science and technology policies also we are bringing out in a very innovative way. It is very different than what earlier policy was brought. So we have a very clear idea about how it is really implemented. Third thing is that education and research need to be synergized. And therefore, the science and technology innovation policy has to get synergized with the national education policy. So this is the third thing that we are ensuring that, Also, the policy has to be inclusive, bottom up, decentralized, and it should go to the the last mile man in the country. And that is the reason why we are having this a new kind of strategy we have developed to try to reach out to every citizen of this country.
Right. So I think during this APAC dialogue for last 25 minutes, half an hour, we have tried to cover various aspects of your life as a professional, in your professional journey that is starting from as a weather forecaster, then helping Indian Army, then your role in DST. I know we cannot cover the entire professional life in 30 minutes or 40 minutes, but for our viewers, I would like to inform that we have kept a section in this dialogue where we are going to touch upon the very important aspect of his life, that is how he's battling cancer. And not only is battling cancer, but I think he is a winner of that battle. And I think his story, which we will be hearing from himself today, will be inspiring to many other people in this country and world over, that how the importance of mental strength is needed to overcome these challenges. Dr. Gupta, if you can just quickly tell us about this episode of your life, which I must think is quite challenging, but as you have said in your earlier statement that challenges can be seen and opportunities, and how you have leveraged that challenge to redefine your life in a new way.
Yeah, thank you, Savik. This is a very, I would say, emotional part of my life. Also, it actually gives me a lot of strength. The reason is that, when I was in that one part of my, professional career was as the coordinator of the two national mission on climate change, which I was coordinating from 2009 and then developed. sometimes, when we were moving very well and able to achieve so many things, came a challenge for me. And that challenge was in 2015 when I was detected the last stage cancer of the oral cancer. Now, the kind of mindset that you can understand when a person gets this last stage, and you are, see, this is that famous Munna Bhai MBBS story when a person comes and say that, oh, see, I wish you could have come earlier than today. And the person said that, how early you think you should, I would have come to. So I got that kind of shock of my life. Then when I'm moving with full speed to achieve, big targets of my professional career, I'm getting this as a major impediment. But then I took it, well, this is the challenge that anybody can have, not just because of the health issues, but also because of many other issues. And that is why, I want to give this message to people that whenever you are encountered with a challenge, why big, obstacle in your life, how do you face it? So what I did, I took it in a positive way, and I very, cheerfully. I don't think how many patients who are in the last stage of the cancer can be cheerful, before the surgery. I was so cheerful, and even cutting jokes and all that. Even all my, doctors were surprised that how I'm thinking. I took it in a very positive way. The first surgery was performed, and then that surgery, in fact, was successful in a way, in a surgical way, it is successful. But then what happened, because I had so many other complications, for example, and I was diabetic. So because of the diabetes, the flap that was put here did not survive more than 15 days or so. It started becoming black. And so doctor suddenly said, oh, this flap which was taken from my hand is not surviving. So they had to do another surgery and put a flap from my leg, the thigh. Then, and like that, the iteratively many classes. So I was operated in a period of 3.5 months when I was there in the hospital 10 times. So just imagine 10 surgeries, out of that, 5 or 6 were major surgeries of 8 to 10 hours. First surgery was 14 hours. With that, I lost weight, I lost everything. I, in fact, was in isolation in the ICU ward for several days all alone. Just think that a person who is professionally so very productive and alert is kept in the ICU for 9 days all alone, can't speak because there was a tracheostomy here put, can't move because there was, several other things was put on my leg and my hand. Just, I used to look at the roof and just think and think and think. So one thinking, and then people in the ICU when I was there 9 days, several of my patient lost life. Just imagine the situation that, people are dying around you, and you are sitting, you are, lying down with no talk and nothing and nobody can meet me also, because that was the thing. I thought that I'm not going to give up. I had to come back and fight the the entire thing in a big way. And so with all that, doctors did a wonderful job. But the positivity and my resolve to come back and contribute professionally was very important. And so I was several other, uh, uh, you know, uh, operations were done. In fact, but finally, this survived, and finally, doctors have fixed everything, and I got discharged. In a total time, in within I took, they discharged me. I came to home again. I joined. Total period of my stay in the hospital was nearly 5.5 months. Just imagine, you can't, think of staying 5 days, but 5.5 months I was in the hospital. So just think of my situation and my family who had worked and who had stayed so strongly with me. And especially, my wife and my daughters who worked like anything. And so they had so much of positivity also. So this whole thing, entire episode, I took, though last thing. Thereafter, there were another challenge came that, I wanted to join office immediately. And doctor said, no, for 3 months you have to be in bed. I didn't request the doctor. Within a month, I joined my office. I said, no, this office only going to give me the real energy. And the big challenge that I had, even after joining office, that I could not have my food directly, taken, I couldn't take any solid food. So I was to take only semi-solid and liquid food for almost 5 months. I was in that way. So you just imagine the kind of, then I started working from the office, joined the office, came back to the sit, and then so basically these challenges are which came to my life. I did not say no to that. I did not give up and continued my journey. Despite all challenges that I had in past 5 years, I did not stop. I did not allow the limitations of my life to come in my way, and so that is how handle this the entire crisis in a way that positive direction.
I think when I started this episode of APAC Dialogue, I was when I was introducing you, I told my viewers that this is a story of inspiration, and I think now they have heard it from yourself, and it's quite evident that it's a story of inspiration in all true sense. And as you have said that you've joined within a month after this entire painful process, and you have survived. And before we wrap it up, this discussion, what will be your one-liner for all the people out there who are battling cancer? What will be your uh, statement for them? What is your suggestion for them?
See, I think one important thing I wanted to mention, and especially the cancer patient, whether it is cancer of any kind, and especially the mouth cancer issues are very, it's very, sometimes there are issues related to your uh, general appearance, and this can happen with any kind of person, not just cancer, but also people with acid attack and all that happens. And this happened with me. I want to share this very important part that after the surgery, my appearance was not, when I looked at myself in the mirror, I used to feel so bad, and a kind of dejection feeling used to say that I used to have. And, I feel so very dejected. And no, is this my face that I had? So I used to wear mask always. So for 2 months or so, I had mask on my face. And then came, and since I am the orator, I was invited by the Banaras Hindu University to deliver a talk it was December end or something in 2016. I went with a mask for giving the lecture, but during the lecture, I realized that no, I think I had to show my whatever face I had to this world. And this requires a lot of, confidence and boldness. And during my lecture itself, I removed my mask. I said no. And see, since then to now, of course, I wear mask for different reasons, but I never felt sorry and never felt bad about my face. This is the face I had to show to this world. People may feel this way or that way. I don't care, because this is my face that I don't have to have any inhibition, any hesitation, any shyness to bring it to the public. My message to people who suffer from this kind of disease is that never think that it is end of your life, because whenever you think it is end of the road, you come back with your all confidence and show this word that a lot is still remaining for you. I used to think this way. I'll tell you another very important thing. I used to feel very strong with the professional career. So I always used to think, no, mujhe abhi ye karna hai kam. So when you think mujhe ye karna hai kam, you always have an internal, confidence and spirit that no, I'm not going to die today. I have certain unfinished work to complete. I'll tell you, in the semi ICU where I was admitted, there is a semi ICU in the AIMS. I used to check the thesis of my students, research papers of my students, and doctor used to wonder that why I do it. So I said, no, this gives me strength and spirit, high spirit. So my suggestion is to everybody, keep your spirit high and find some motivation for you. There is always some motivation in the life. Your family is your motivation. Your profession could be your motivation. You can always find some motivation in life. Live with that motivation and keep your spirit high. The doctors will do their job, but I think it is the willpower of the patient that keeps you alive, that keeps you moving. That's the message. Thank you.
True. I think Dr. Akhilesh Gupta, as I was talking to you, I think I am now feeling more inspired talking to you for last 40 minutes. I am sure that our viewers who will be watching this special episode of APAC Dialogue will be feeling more inspired hearing your story, and they will be saying, I'm sure, most of them will be saying that Dr. Akhilesh Gupta's story will actually help them to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Thanks so much, Dr. Akhilesh Gupta, for joining us today for the special edition of APAC Dialogue. And I request my viewers that please keep on watching the special episodes of APAC Dialogue, where we get the best of the minds from various sectors who speak about their professional and personal journey as a leader in their own field. And do follow APAC News Network and also our various virtual offerings, virtual conclaves, webinars, and articles in our portal. Keep supporting us, keep guiding us. Thank you so much. See you See you all in the next episode of APEC Dialogue. Thank you, Dr. Akhilesh Gupta. Thank you, viewers. Namaskar.